The Rip City Drive.
Wonderful. Michael Allen Harrison in studio. You made it.
I did. It's really brutal out there. You know, when I was listening on the way in, you were talking about the Troutdale troublemaker.
Yes.
And I thought, you know, you're onto something, but you made it too long. Just go Troutdale trouble.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Godfather?
Yeah, I like that better.
Troutdale trouble. And then that way, you know, when he comes into the game, you know, and Mark Mason sees him, he goes, here comes trouble. You know?
Yeah.
I think that works. Anyways.
It's so good to see
My
you.
2 cents.
All right.
Some guys are just, creating. Doesn't matter what they're doing.
Now, see, you're a huge Blazer fan, Michael. So what are your thoughts on what you see from the group this year under Chauncey in year number 2?
Oh, man. You know, they had a little rough patch there, but I'm really excited about this team. They're so fun to watch. I mean, whether they make the playoffs or not, I think they might. But, you know, it's been a while since, you know, you really look forward to just watching these guys play. I mean, because there's so much talent and they're exciting. I mean, there's a certain, it's a new vibe is what my eyeballs are seeing, you know, and they're just fun to watch. And it's fun to go to the games again. And so, I think there's a lot of promise there. And I think Chauncey is turning out to be a really good coach. And, at first you're not sure if he's like really vested, you know what I mean? It's like he's really, really wants to make something happen. But it really feels to me like he really wants to make a go of it. He likes his players and, he wants to help make something happen here in Rip City.
All right, Michael.
That's my take.
No, it's great. I love it. It's a good take. He knows the basketball really well.
I think you're really solid. I think a lot of people believe the same thing. They weren't quite sure. They weren't ready to buy in yet. Yeah. But I think once Chauncey got some players and got Dame back and got his lineup back, everything changed. And now you're seeing the way he wants to play. Right. That's the way he wants to play.
Yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, and we've gone back and forth. Everybody's speculating whether, Damian is, Lillard is, going to be here and he's walking the walk. I mean, he talks like he wants to finish his career here. He wants a championship here, and I don't know. I think that debate is over. I mean, I think he's really committed and he really wants to make it happen. And how cool is that?
Yeah.
And if we can make that happen, get the right, players around him and I think we got the right coach and, get the owner to keep spending a whole bunch of money and we'll get there.
That might be the hardest part.
There you go. Yeah. All right. How many years now at the old church? Christmas at the old church.
Well, this is our 32nd season.
Crazy, isn't it?
And awesome. It's pretty exciting this year. We did have the season last year. And, but, still with the COVID restrictions, everybody had to show their vaccine cards. Yeah, the vaccines cards at the door, and everybody had to mask up and everything. And there's still like some anxiety and tension. He's still not really feeling, relaxed and just too many layers, on top of the expectation of going somewhere and doing something special during the holidays. And now, those layers have peeled away. And we've done 3 shows now, 2 shows on Sunday and 1 last night. And I'm telling you, the crowds are just off the charts. I think it was Sunday night. Sunday night, we got 4 standing ovations.
Wow.
In the middle of the show. And, most of the time we get a standing ovation at the end. And, sometimes, when the audience is a little flatter and they don't stand up, but we don't take it personally. I know everybody, enjoys it, but 4 of them, they just went crazy. I think part of it, too, is I have more kids in the show this year, and so it brings a little extra charm. I have this girls' choir that's made up of 2 8-year-olds, a 9-year-old, and 3 13-year-old girls.
Wow.
You know, and you know the song from Charlie Brown, Christmas time is here.
Oh, yeah.
So
Beautiful.
imagine those, you know, those innocent, sweet voices, you know. And, you know, that's how we opened the show, you know. And then the 3 teenagers, well, we're old enough to know who the Andrews sisters are.
He's pointing at me.
Yeah, you and I are old enough. You might be, but you know, from the 30s and the 40s, you know, that really classic, old-fashioned, you know, 3-part harmony with those 3 women, and these 3, you know, middle school girls are doing an Andrews Sisters arrangement of Winter Wonderland, you know, and it's so nostalgic and so charming. And then, of course, we got Julianne Johnson, who, you know,
she is tremendous.
Incredible jazz, blues, and gospel singer.
She's been with you for a while, hasn't
Every
she?
show. We've been performing together since 1988, I want to say, you know,
She's
professionally.
spectacular.
And she's been, you know, in my every show at the old church. And, you know, she's really my co-star. And then Haley Johnson, who's an incredible songwriter. She was in the top 20 in American Idol about 10, 12 years ago, something like that.
I purchased one of her albums at one of your shows.
She is really growing as an artist. And so we, one of the segments, all of us completely, I think she's only 32 years old. And all of us, we completely leave the stage. And she does this beautiful rendition of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, just playing acoustic guitar in her voice.
Wow.
You know,
great voice.
And then for the last, I'm going to say 8 years or so, we discovered her versatility. She does a version of Ave Maria that'll just knock you out. And so that's become a tradition. So every year she sings the Ave Maria.
It's beautiful.
And so imagine Linda Ronstadt, okay, singing Ave Maria. She has that kind of a voice and that strong of a voice. So it's more of a pop voice, you know, not a classical voice. Yeah. But her treatment of it is really stunning. So, you know, I just love this show. I do all sorts of, you know, piano solo concerts, and I play with my band year round. But, you know, this holiday show is really, it's a variety show. This is a community show where I'm always, you know, bringing in new young talent and you know, bringing extra people in from the community to be a part of what we do there. Because, you know, at the Christmas time, this holiday season, we're all looking to feel something special. You know, there's an expectation, you know, and going to different events, whether it's my show at the old church, you know, or going to the Nutcracker, you know, there's an expectation of when you step in, you're going to feel something. It's really important to feel something special during this time. And I think it really helps us as a culture, you know, to have each other's back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You know, because the more we have each other's back, you know, the better we're going to be. And that's what it always feels like down at the old church, that we've got each other's back. And how better to have, you know, to get that feeling then through music, because, you know, music is that language we're all born with to understand. The moment we're born, we understand sound, and we know when we hear this, we all hear it the same, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to train for that. I mean, I have to train to know how to play it, you know, but we all hear it together, and we all get to experience together. And so it's a great gift for all of us humans. It's a great gift for me to be able to present it.
When you talked about having youngsters in the show, I can't think of anybody in a better position to find Portland's young talent than you, because you're developing them all the time, right? I mean,
all
got
the time.
All kinds of things
Yeah,
going.
and also through my foundation and my program called Play It Forward. Mm-hmm. You know, we work with all sorts of kids all around the city, and what Play It Forward is we take in gently used instruments in from the community. So we get a lot of keyboards or pianos or guitars, you know, drums, clarinets, violins, you know, you name it. We get these instruments in, and the requirement is that it's gently used and we don't want to spend any money fixing it up. But then we redistribute those instruments out into the community and into the hands of kids who otherwise would not be able to afford it. And then the early part of the program, we were just giving instruments. Now we're also giving lessons and scholarships to kids to get lessons. And now our program has expanded to a place where we have after-school programs and during school. So we're in a school for the first time during the day, all day, where kids walk down the hall and get either a ukulele, a guitar lesson, or a piano lesson over at King Elementary over in North Portland.
Wow, that's terrific.
Yeah, and so the program's called Play It Forward. If you want to know more about it, just go to pifmusic.org. If you want to donate one of your instruments, you got a guitar sitting under your bed, that needs to be played, or a ukulele, or you have a piano in your living room that hasn't been touched for a long time. And as far as pianos goes, we don't want those 120-year-old pianos that have been sitting and it hasn't been tuned for 50 years and it's in disrepair. Those we can't take in because it costs too much to get them ready for someone to play.
Yeah.
But if you got a good instrument that isn't, too old, it's in great shape, and it's tunable, we will pick it up and we'll get it to the right place.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
What about a little medley of what people might hear at Christmas at the old church?
Well, how about I'll give you a little Drummer Boy. I'll do a little mashup of Drummer Boy and Deck the Hall. How much time do I have? You got like 2 minutes?
We got plenty of time.
Plenty of time?
As much time as you want.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, just give me 2 fingers when I have 2 minutes left, okay?
Okay. Michael Allen Harrison in the house.
Yes.
So good.
I've heard you play so many times, Michael, but I got to tell you, to stand this close and watch you work is a privilege. What a privilege, man!
Oh, thank you, Clyde. Yeah.
How does that work for you with the show? You've done it for so long now, 32 years. Mm-hmm. You obviously want to stick with some of the classics that people love, but you have some freedom in terms of being able to come up with, like you said, the different kids and the people you want. So how do you decide that every year in terms of what your list is going to be?
Well, there's usually probably about 20 segments in every show, and I would say probably 8 to 10 are songs we do every year. For instance, Julianne Johnson singing "Oh Holy Night."
Yeah,
if she doesn't do that, I get an email the next day.
Yeah, of course.
Things like that. And then, of course, our big finale number that we do an incredible arrangement of Silent Night. We start with one of the girls, singing the first verse of Silent Night on her own in a beautiful, airy voice. And then the cast kind of sings a little harmony. And then we get the crowd to sing with us. And then we change the rhythm, and then it goes into a full-on gospel, glory, hallelujah, Silent Night at the end. And everybody's on their feet, and Julianne just, does her thing. And we've done that finale, I think, for 32 years, and nobody ever gets tired of it. So, I'm always writing new music, and I often write music for the season. One of the songs we're doing with the kids' choirs is called "Gift of Life," and it's a song that I wrote with one of my buddies. I don't know if you ever met Tom. He was the director of the Ronald McDonald House.
I haven't.
A gentleman by the name of Tom Soma.
Well,
he was there, I don't know, for 20, 25 some odd years. He's retired and he's moved to Florida now, but we wrote a song together called "Gift of Life." So we have a little kids choir going, candy canes and colored lights, festive candles fill the night, that kind of thing. And so it's just warm, and, so we brought that song back. We haven't done it in a long time because we haven't had a kids choir.
Yeah.
And so that's really quite lovely. And then, of course, we have to do Drummer Boy with my drummer, who's been my drummer since 1986, I think. His name is Israel Ano, and Ano is from Ghana, West Africa.
Yeah,
and then he does this Drummer Boy segment like you wouldn't believe. He's 76 years old now. He looks like he's 40, and he plays like he's 25.
Yeah, and his hands
he's
move
unbelievable.
So fast.
Yeah, I was talking to him last night. I go, Israel, I said, I know you're like 10 years older than me, right? And he goes, yeah. And I go, man, you're 70. No, he's 76. He's 12 years older than me. Yeah. He's turning 76 in January.
Wow.
Crazy. And I'm just like, dude, you're going to live till like you're 110. I hope so, because, I'm doing the old church until I kill over.
What a great venue, too. You know who blew me away last year? I think it was your son on the guitar.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, Travis.
Whoa.
Real classical guitarist.
That blew me away.
Yeah.
He stole the show for me.
Yeah.
Spectacular.
Yeah, he and I worked up a really cool version of What Child Is This year. And so that's new. That's
good. So he'll be a part of the show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we might get our grandchild up there this year. So she and her mom are, Andrea, our daughter Andrea, she is a professor at Northern Iowa. And they come in, I think, on the 19th. And our granddaughter Vivian is 8, and she's been practicing the piano. So we might, get her to maybe play a duet with Grandpa, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Something like that.
Yes.
Interesting thing about this song, it's the same chords as Pocketbus Kenny. You've heard it like at every wedding. It's also the same chords for Puff the Magic Dragon. Puff the Magic Dragon lived by the sea. Or it's I'm sailing away.
Well,
I don't remember the rest of the words.
doesn't matter.
You know, because I've got to be free, you know. So it's the same chords. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And those chords were written by Johann Pachelbel like in 1600 something. Oh, and then also, you know, Adam Levine, you know, that song, you know, da, 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 da. It's from Pachelbel's canon, his big famous tune. I don't remember what that song is called. Anyways.
That's terrific.
Yeah. So it's interesting. You know what they say, that amateurs borrow, professionals steal.
Coaches are the same way. By the way.
Okay.
They do the same things.
Yeah.
Who were your big influences when you were younger?
Oh, God. You know, I had an uncle who was, I'm going to say about 6 or 8 years older than me. And then another uncle was only 3 years older than me, but the one who was a little bit older, and he was, you know, during holiday time, he was giving me like Frank Zappa albums, like Hot Rats, and he was Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. He gave me this great album by War called The World is a Ghetto.
Yes.
You know, and it's still one of my very all-time favorite albums of all time. And then, of course, I was listening to the Stones, and I was listening to the Beatles. The Beatles were a huge influence. Elton John a little bit. I wasn't in love with his music, but I'll tell you who I fell in love with was Billy Joel. That guy can play. I mean, he is a monster player, and he's such an incredible songwriter. His storytelling is so amazing. I think it was in October, I took my wife and my youngest, my 13-year-old, who loves Billy Joel too. We went to see him in Houston at Minute Maid Park.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
We had so much fun. And of course, he ends it with, you know, Piano Man. So imagine, you know, how many does that stadium hold? Like 60, 70,000?
Yes. And everyone's singing along.
Every single person singing Piano Man, and all three of us were all teared up.
Sure.
It was just one of those moments. And, yeah, and that's, you know, when you go to a concert, that's what you want to feel. You want to feel that, you know, and when you're with 60,000 people or 300 people, you know, at the old church, and you get to feel that together, man, it's just magic. It's just such magic.
He shared a story once that I thought was great. He had gotten in touch with Paul McCartney, who was going to come over to his house, and he wanted Paul to take a look at some of the stuff he was writing, and he knew Paul was really big for animal rights and stuff, and he had some meat in the fridge and stuff, so he's like, I got to hide all the meat. So he got in his fridge, got rid of all the meat out of the refrigerator, and started sticking it in random drawers around the living room and stuff because he didn't want Paul to be offended. And they came over and had a great time, and a couple of days later, he said, I started to know, what's that smell? And then he realized he had forgotten about all the meat he had hidden. So he had to go and get rid of it. But that's I'm glad that you can still go to a show and enjoy it just like that.
Absolutely. You know, and you know, I mean, I've hugely influenced by classical music as well, because I was so much exposed to, you know, Mozart and Beethoven and Chopin and Tchaikovsky and Brahms and, you know, all the big names. And I did competitions, you know, classical piano competitions when I was a kid, and played, you know, a couple of concertos and you know, learned all the repertoire. I mean, this is all the stuff you learn as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, you learn all that stuff, and of course, I teach all that stuff to my piano students. You know, and to give them the foundation, and you know, helps them with technique. And I teach kids, you know, the language, how to put together chords, and how the scales, you know, work with all the different chords, and challenge them to write their own music, and really to learn the language, not just learn the notes. You know how it, you know, the academics behind it, and because it just makes it so much easier when you really understand the language, and you know, and you can, you know, build chords. You know, I'll give you a quick piano lesson here, Dwight. Okay?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So here's middle C, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
how
middle
you
C.
find middle C? You see these groups of 2 black keys?
Uh huh.
You see they're all over the piano, right?
Right.
Well, just to the left of the bottom of the two group black keys is a C, and that's in the middle of the piano. So you could find C's everywhere. Pretty
I
easy to
see.
find if you
And
identify
that's
the
the
2
middle
black keys.
C, but then
and
these
that's
are
the
all
middle
Cs.
C.
Yeah.
To build a chord, you build it in intervals of thirds. So we're just talking math here, So you count up 1, 2, 3. That's a third, and then from that one, 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's a chord.
There's a chord.
That's not that hard to figure out, is it?
Well, for a guy challenged by mathematics, it
No,
is.
but
Yes.
really, I'm just trying to really simplify it. And,
of
and
course.
so you could play that C chord here, now that you found it here, and then you just play it up here. It's the same. It's just higher or lower,
Sure.
And a lot of teachers don't teach that easy basic math. And so at any age, you can build what they call, it's called a triad. So we're in math language. And then if you change one of those notes, let's change the middle note and just move it down to like this black note next to it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a different sounding chord. So that's a major chord, very happy. And then all of a sudden, move it down a half step. Ooh, that's minor. That sounds sad and angry. Happy, sad. So, knowing these intervals and how these chords work, the people who invented, these systems, these composers, they were storytellers. So by figuring out what the different colors were with the tones, now you can start telling stories. Just like this. That's a story being told. Or this. So composers are just like, people who write books. We're just writers. We want to tell a story. And so these tones give us the colors in which to tell that story. And so the listener gets to interpret that story. The composer has a certain idea about it, right?
Uh-huh.
But, he kind of wants to get that idea across. But the composer also wants you to interpret it on your own and have your own experience.
Michael, I can see the one hand part of this. When you start mixing another hand in on it, it just blows my mind that you can coordinate.
Well,
all
here,
your
let me
fingers,
get back
both
to simple again. So
Okay.
we have that C chord, right?
All right.
Well, let's just find the C down below and play the one below that.
Okay.
So I'm just playing what we call the root of the chord,
Okay.
and that fills it up. If you just play it like that, it's kind of thin, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can break it up. Same notes, I can play them in any order. But I add that thing on the bottom. Very simple, and it sounds like something, right?
Yeah.
And all you people listening on the radio, I played that right there.
That's
That
right.
was me.
He's a fast learner.
Radio's the theater of the mind.
So, how many shows remaining in Christmas at the Old Church?
Oh, let's see, including tonight, 17. Yeah. So we have 20 shows scheduled, and we've done 3 already. And I know we're going to have another great crowd tonight. And so it's tonight, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then this Saturday, we have 3 shows, one at 1 o'clock, one at 4 o'clock, and another one at 7:30. And then on Sunday, same schedule, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 7:30. And then starting again next Monday, it'd be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I think the 24th is on Saturday this year, right? Is
Yes,
that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and then 2 shows on Saturday the 24th. So one show at 2 o'clock, and the last show will be at 5 o'clock Christmas Eve. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
What is the best way for people to get tickets?
So easy. Go to michaelallenharrison.com. You don't have to go any further than the front page. It's just all right there. Christmas at the Old Church. It has a phone number also for the box office, so you can actually call and talk to somebody. And our ticket system's through Ticket Tomato. Are you familiar with them?
I am, yes.
They are awesome, and they actually have more than one person, manning the phones.
Wow.
And their owner, Amy Maxwell, is awesome. I just love her. And They take such good care of everybody. And then, or you can just, click the links and go right to the ticket site. And so the seat map comes up. You either select the center section or the left side or the right side, and you see them in different colors. And it's just easy just to select and check out and come on to the show. Yeah.
All right. MichaelAllenHarrison.com. It's all right there on the front page. And Ticket Tomato. It's easy.
Yeah.
What a great show. I'm so glad, man. 32 years is awesome.
Yeah. It's a Portland institution. It really is. I mean, it's such an iconic event.
Well, I'm really proud of that, Dwight, because that means that I'm leaving a legacy for my family.
Yes.
And that's really important to me. And what I'm really hoping for is that, all these kids, and a lot of them are grown up now, one of these days, either a family member or someone who's part of the old church, family, carries on this tradition. And, I'm only 64, almost 65. So I plan on doing this till I'm at least 95. So they're all going to have to wait 30 years. But, I really want it to carry on. I would really love for that to be something that stayed as like a nutcracker. That is a tradition that still, holds true. And, one of these days, my great grandchild is going to be on that stage. And the other thing that I'm so proud of is that I have my name in a star right in front of the Performing Arts Center. And so that's another legacy thing for me. I'm right in between James DePriest, the former conductor of the symphony, and Vera Katz. I'm just right there. And so, again, a family member is going to be able to stand there and say, hey, this was my great-grandpa, and he made a difference in this community. He left a stamp, and so, maybe when I'm reincarnated someday, maybe I'll be one of those great-grandchildren standing on that star. Who knows?
That's great. All right. Well, Michael Allen Harrison is in studio. Christmas at the Old Church. You can get tickets. Go to michaelallenharrison.com. If you want, you can play us out.
I'll play you out.